Hi guys, this is Mrs. Hill. This is our first lesson from our book titled Arturor's Baton. This is a fiction book. It is also an AR book. So when we get done with our lessons and we complete our skill sheet, I will post the AR number in your Google Classroom so you can take an AR test on this story and continue to accumulate those AR points. So before we do today's part of the lesson, what I want to do is take a look at our skill sheet. We're going to preview the questions before we read today. This skill sheet has 2 pages. The way it is laid out, each box represents one question. And as you're typing inside that box, what I have found is as you type your answer, the text box for some reason seems to stretch out across the next question. If that's happening, you can just continue to type your answer, and when you click off of that question or out of that text box and you click on the next question you want to work on, that text box will kind of shorten down and put your typed response right in that text box. So I think that's kind of odd, but sometimes that's just the way technology rolls. So if that's happening to you as you work on your skill sheets, just keep typing, and when you click on the next question, it should resolve. So there are 2 pages. This is the first page. Don't forget to put your name at the top. At the very top of your Google Classroom tab on this, you will see it's a little tiny box at the very top. There will be a forward arrow and a backward arrow right up at the top. You need to click on the forward arrow. When you do that, it will take you to the second page. There are 2 pages worth of questions and 2 pages that will be counted as a grade. So please make sure you complete the second page. Okay, so we're going to preview the first page today. You won't see these numbers on yours, but I numbered the questions. So as I refer to certain questions for you to answer, those questions are numbered. I don't think you'll be able to number them, but I numbered them on this skill sheet so we can use them as a reference. Okay, so let's preview these questions and see what we can learn about our story before we read. See if we can learn any of the characters' names. Sometimes you can learn a little bit about, you might learn about the setting of the story. You might learn about the problem in the story. You'll learn all kinds of things by previewing the questions. So let's do that. So the first question says, who is the main character? So I have highlighted the part of the question that we will use to restate in your answer. Okay, so as we put together the short written answer or the sentences, because we've got to answer in complete sentences, we are going to use part of that question to restate in your answer. Okay, so the first question is, who is the main character? I don't think you can highlight, but I'm going to highlight so that you can see what part of the question we're going to restate. So we're going to figure out who the main character is. Sometimes in fictional stories, you have one main character. Okay, I'm going to circle that. The second question says, who are the minor characters? So minor characters are people in the story, but it's not who the main story is about. So we'll see how many minor characters. This question number 2, we might fill it in as we go along, okay? Because I doubt that we will meet all of the characters in our first lesson. So we'll keep that, will be an ongoing answer throughout the week. Question number 3 says, what are 3 things you learned about Arturor? So Arturor's name shows up again. Arturor's Baton is the title of our story, and if you look on the cover of the book, Arturor's Baton, here's a man, and he has a baton in his hand. So I'm wondering if this is going to be our main character, Arturor. So we'll find out as we start into our story. Okay, so as we read, what are 3 things you learned about Arturo? This question we might not answer until the end of the week. So we're going to answer these questions out of order. Okay, question number 4, what is Arturo's big problem? So now we know he has a problem. Most all fictional stories have a problem, and that's what the story is built around. So we're going to figure out what his problem is. Number 5, down here at the bottom, how is Arturo's problem solved? So we know he has a big problem, and then we're going to see how he solves it. Okay? And the last question we're going to look at today is, what does Arturo learn about himself? So this question will probably be toward the very end, might be lesson 4, might even be on into lesson 5 before we get that one answered. But we are going to practice using complete sentences as well, and I will help you through that, okay? The second page. The second page we will do at the end. We might do it a whole lesson just on this last page of the skill sheet. So it tells us, complete the chart using information and pictures from the book. Use complete sentences. So I think in a previous story, we did a picture walk to get a little preview of the story. You get a lot of information out of pictures. So we're going to see what the pictures do for us as we look at these different statements through that show up in our story, and what clues from the story tell you this. So we're going to use clues from the story to match up with these statements, and then we're going to talk about how information and pictures helped you understand the story and helped you as the story unfolded. Okay, then the last question all the way at the bottom, we will save that for the very end of our lesson. Okay, so that's what your skill packet looks like. We did get some nice information out of there. We've met our main character, I think. Looks like his name is Arturo. We know he's got a big problem, and we know the problem's going to be solved. Okay, so let's see what part of our story today, what this part of our story today is going to share with us. Okay, so we're going to do a little picture walk. We're going to start at the very beginning. I'm going to let you look at the illustrations as I flip through the pages. Take a look at lots of different details in there. Okay, so the title is Arturo's Baton, and the author is Sid Hoff. Looks like the author was also the illustrator, so he wrote the words and he drew the pictures. Okay. Looks like right here on the first page, he dedicated the story. So he's got this little illustration, and the author dedicated this story. It says, "For my father, who was a conductor, but only on a streetcar." So sometimes you see books that are written for people or stories that are written for people. So the author has written this story for his father. So let's take a look at the illustrations. Okay, so it looks like there's some people walking. Looks like we've got some posters hanging here. Here's the name again, Arturo. Here's Arturo. There's Arturo. So his name shows up in these posters. Okay. So check him out here. Here's the same character we saw on the front of the book. Looks like he's got this little baton. Looks like there's some people watching. Here he is. Looks like there's an audience. They're all playing instruments. And here the people, or I'm sorry, this looks like an orchestra. Looks like they're playing instruments. And then here's the audience. People are listening. Looks like there's some kids and some families. Looks like people are smiling. Looks like he's walking out and people are giving him flowers. People are still smiling. So it looks like here he's talking to people, gets in a car and drives off. This might be a character that we meet today. So here he is. Looks like he's come home, or he might be at a hotel or somewhere. There's a wiener dog. I have a red wiener dog. I'm kind of partial to wiener dogs. Looks like there's a maid, somebody with some pajamas, and it looks like he's climbed into bed. And the dog's at the foot of the bed, and look where his baton is, right here on the pillow. So that's as far as we're going to go today. Just wanted you to take a look at the illustrations, and we're going to go back and I'm going to read to you. And if you will follow along and listen, we'll see what questions we can answer today. So Arturo's Baton by Sid Hoff. Arturo was a famous conductor. When he waved his baton, the orchestra played. He waved it wildly, and the trumpets blared. He waved it gently, and the violins sighed. More, more, shouted the people in the audience. After the concert, they swarmed around Arturo just to be near him. They brought him flowers. I thank you, said Arturo. This little stick, my baton, thanks you. Without it, I could never conduct. So it looks like this baton is a major part of the story. Felix, his manager, drove Arturo home. Remember, Felix told Arturo, after tomorrow's concert, you leave on a world tour. So this is Felix right here. So I bet you he's a minor character. The maid met Arturo with a tall glass of milk. His dog Toscani brought him his slippers. The valet had his pajamas ready. So we've met the maid, we've met the valet, and we've met his red wiener dog. A valet is like somebody that helps you with your clothes or helps you with your house. Arturo got into bed. He put his baton on the pillow next to him. So that's as far as we're going to read today. So let's go back to our questions. Who is the main character? So we're going to be able to answer this question. So we're going to restate part of the question to begin our answer. So the part I have highlighted is the part we're going to restate. So we're going to say the main, and I realize this is a lot of typing, so take your time. If you need to pause, if you need to take a break, you can do that. The main character is, and then I'm going to put a blank line right there. We stuck the word is at the end of that sentence to make the main character is. So we reused every word in that sentence except one. Okay, so the main character is, I think you all should know who the main character is. His name is even up here. Okay. Who are the minor characters? So let's get that one started. I think we met them today. We're going to say the minor characters are. Okay, so we again reused every word from our question to begin our answer. Okay, I think I should have maybe given you a couple short lines. So we met several minor characters today. So let's go back to page 11. Remember, we met Felix right here, so I'm going to fill him in. Now, don't forget, we have capital letters, okay, because it's a name. Then I'm going to put a comma. I should have given you some shorter blank lines, but we met Felix, and then on page 12, we met the maid. We met his dog. I think he's going to be my favorite. and we met his valet. So we met 3 more characters, okay? So I'm going to put a comma, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we'll have Felix, his dog Toscani brought him his slippers. The valet had his pajamas. We also had the maid. So that picture gives you all of them, okay? So we had 1, 2, 3, 4 minor characters in our story, and we met them on page 12, okay? So those 2 questions are what we will finish up today. If you need to go back and rewind the video, you can. If you need to split your screen, if you need to need any help with anything, you can always message me through Remind. So that's as far as we're going to go today. We'll see what happens in tomorrow's lesson. We'll see if we learned anything about Arturo. We'll see if we can figure out what his big problem is tomorrow as well. So I hope you enjoyed this part of the story, and I hope you're looking forward to tomorrow's lesson. See you then. Bye.